Well, kids, everybody grab a beer. It's time for XPQuest. We're doing episode 12. It is our we finally got to the Lotro show, which is something Andang's been pestering me to do. So this one goes out to Andang. We're dedicating it to Andang. Okay.
I noticed isn't actually here.
Yeah, he was an invited guest too. And
he threw me under that bus.
He's like, I think you need to talk to Terry.
I know none of you people.
He's very good at suggestive. So as you could tell, we have a full chat room tonight and a full guest roster. So let's just start at the top here. We got Terry Adwin from Lotro Players News.
Hi.
We got the infamous. He's that means he's more than famous. Braxwolf from Beyond Boss Fights.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yeah.
And of course, we got first timer Chad Van Austin from the Cinematic Tangent.
It's Van Alsten, actually. There's an L there. Yeah,
Al-
it's all right. It's all right.
Al-
Yes, hello.
Al-
Pleased to be with you. Thank you for having me.
I'm putting a couple more L's in here so I don't forget that.
I'm literally the only one in the world because that's a made-up name. So Austin's probably actually what it's supposed to be.
I thought that this was like your wrestling handle or something.
I wish that it was, man. Yeah, that was.
You're like really into the Monday Night Raw and stuff. I see on Twitter.
I secretly love wrestling. I actually, I
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
actually
with that.
pro wrestlers in real life. My roommate in college wrestles for ROH. So yeah, man.
Nice.
A big fan.
So before we get too sidetracked, what's everybody drinking tonight?
Excuse me. I know I'm a piece of the furniture, but don't I deserve a mention too?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we doing? We had 5
You're
people
a piece
here.
of the furniture. You're like the wallpaper. You're always here. Okay, this is my co-host Raetac, of course.
Greetings all.
I'm gonna make him rage, so he fits his name. Raetac rages.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm sorry, Raetac. You know I didn't mean it.
Got the most charming accent.
Come back.
Ever. So charming.
Yeah, so I was doing some math. According to internets and ones and zeros, this show shouldn't even exist at this point, just from the distances and the hurricanes and everything. So it's doomed. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, I'm in Tampa Bay right now. Literally right now.
If we suddenly lose Chad, we all know why.
Yeah, it's because of Hermione, that Harry Potter girl.
Okay.
Really? I don't know. I think that's what its name is.
Something like that. Oh my God. So already in chat, we're making fun of Pine Leaf. They said, is it too late for Pine to stay up? Wah, wah. Poor Pine Leaf. We should have, we invited him. So
you guys were just talking so much crap about him 2 minutes ago. I don't even know who he is, and I feel bad for him.
We talk it out of love, though.
I heard this was PG, so I can't repeat any of it. I'll just say it was bad.
So tonight's show is our topic is Lord of the Rings Online, and I jokingly almost wrote in Board of the Rings Online because there's a couple points where I just like, okay, I gotta stop playing this.
That's every MMO, man.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, it's the MMO part of it. So it was initially branded as the Lord of the Rings Online Shadows of Angmar. Does anyone still have their physical boxed
Got
copy?
my original box, yeah, with the special edition book and everything.
I actually did buy the box, but as things went digital, the box went out.
Did anyone get the T-shirt that came with Mines of Moria? I always wanted that.
I did not.
No, I was already paying a subscription by then.
It's like $12.
I know that I was like crazy late to the game. I joined after it went free to play on Steam. Like that's when I finally hooked up.
That's when I kind of actually officially started playing because I gave up in about 4 weeks originally.
So it is, of course, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game for anybody who doesn't even know about it. And it loosely, but sort of accurately, follows the J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth writings. And right now it is developed and maintained by Turbine. And it, of course, is free to play. And there are VIP subscriptions available, etc., etc., etc. Blah, blah, blah. If you want the the wiki page. Just go out to the wiki page and read that. Nobody cares about that. So let's get into questions. So first off, just so everyone understands frames of mind, like where. Let's go through just briefly. You don't have to go crazy depth. Just briefly describe like how you got into the game and where you are. Sort of. Terry, of course, you can go first because I'm sure you're just like you got 15 characters at the end of the game, right?
No, actually, I have one character who's completed most of the epic story. She hasn't. I haven't done the newest stuff that came out with like update 18.2.1 or something like that, where it's after the Battle of Pelennor Fields and you get to see Minas Tirith not in the Dauntless Day, which I've heard is pretty cool, but I haven't actually seen it. Yeah, I have one character at 105. I have one at 103, one at 102, one at 101. And
they can go into the hundreds?
Oh. Yeah, they raised the level cap up to 105.
No, I knew that actually.
Yeah, and then I've got some high-ish level. I've got some in the 90s and some in the 80s, and then a bunch of lobies that are under like 20 and not on my main server, but on.
To me, those are average bees.
Yeah.
You're in this
I have characters on every single
perfectly
server.
Fine level to be.
Yeah.
So, what was a lot of those because of the server consolidation? So, like you had Sophie's Choice, where you had to start deleting characters, or
I actually, back when Sapiens was the community manager and he was doing those Hobbit runs to Isengard, he made a comment about how he couldn't have the same name for all of his hobbits. Like 2 or 3 of the hobbits were named differently because the name was already taken on some of the servers. So I was like, you know what? I should go through all the servers and make sure that all of the Tariadwins are me. So yeah, I used to have 29 Tariadwins, and since the server consolidation, I'm down to 10. And I've last count characters were 58.
My God,
I think that's still accurate.
ah.
I thought I was bad with being an alcoholic.
So
Yeah,
you're VIP
20 characters. Yeah, I am VIP. I'm actually in my 3rd year of full-time VIP because I've been on and off sort of since it went free to play. Because I would not be playing the game if it had not gone free to play. Because I'm really big on not playing anything I can't try. You know, I'm not gonna pay for something if I can't try it beforehand. Yeah, so VIP, and I've got 20 character slots, and on my home server, which is Landreval, all of them are actually full.
Jesus. How do you manage just inventories?
I don't do crafting.
Okay.
You don't craft? Wait a minute.
Yeah, no,
Why?
I don't craft.
Yeah, seriously, you're not adding to the economy.
That's the whole point of having so many alts is to cover everything.
Yeah, I thought like you'd be a farmer and you'd send stuff to your miner.
Nope, I don't do that. Actually, farming, cooking is the one profession that I enjoy in the game because you don't have to rely on alts in order to keep it up.
Yeah.
Because you can farm your produce to turn it into food. Yeah, I don't do crafting. I've never really been into the system. I still, every time I pick it up, I'm like, why am I doing this? I hate doing this, and I just drop it again. So yeah, inventory management is okay. It's actually cosmetics that fills up the bulk of my inventory. I started a cosmetics blog about 6 months or so ago, and it's called Tariadwin's Closet. And I've not done like regular posting on there, but I've posted a few outfits that have gotten some views. Because somebody had to fill the void because nobody else was posting cosmetics. So
that's right.
Yeah,
Sithris
sort of
used to do that, didn't she?
Sort of my expert niche. Yeah, Sithris was big on the cosmetics.
So, God, can't imagine your loading screen. That's kind of because there's like tabs. Like there's like pages
I have 4
pages
on Landreval because it's 5 characters per page. So it's 4 pages on Landy.
The fact that I actually have 5 characters made and they were literally just for crafting alts. I can't keep them straight. I just have one that I run on, and then the other are just garbage characters.
Oh, that was one of the most favorite parts of the game for me. But anyway,
For the most part, I stopped trying to come up with names, and so basically, I have Terry Adwin on all the servers. She's always a human champion. And then for different characters, I've got the same name. So like an elf runekeeper is going to have the same name if I make it on multiple servers.
Gotcha.
And that sort of thing, with the exception of my burglar characters, because I have one human burglar who's named Sarissa, and then I have a bunch of hobbits, and so on different servers. Like currently I'm on Brandywine, where I was talked into joining the 40 Thieves Guild kinship, which is made up of entirely burglars. And I thought that was a great idea, because we're going to eventually level up to the point where we can start doing like group content, and we're going to run raids full of nothing but burgs.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So my little hobbit burglar is Stealtherine the Nimbletoes.
So is there honor in your Thieves Guild?
No, not really. I mean, most of the guys are wearing the stuff from the Spring Festival dyed Shire Plum, and it looks like an Italian tracksuit. So there's this whole like Shire Mafia roleplay thing going on in the kinship.
The immersion breaking. Oh no!
Yeah, that's not immersion breaking at all.
Well, you know, it's Brandywine, so nobody cares.
Just because you're Italian does not mean you're in the mafia. Okay.
So Brax, how about you?
So the question was, how did you begin playing?
Yeah, and where are you in the game?
Where am I now? So I've told the story a few times. It's kind of weird. I never played MMOs. I grew up playing video games, you know, Atari 2600 consoles and stuff like that. But you know, keep kind of as you know, DJ IT professionals keep kind of geeky company. And one day at work, guy was telling me about this web series that he was watching called The Guild. And now, of course, now everybody knows about this. It was Felicia Day's first thing on YouTube that she did that was so awesome about, and a group of MMO players. And I watched this and I loved it. And I thought, you know, I'm going to try an MMO. That looks like fun. She had all these friends that would get on, and, you know, they'd each have their part to play. And so I got into Lotro because it was free to try, kind of like Terry, free to play. And that was pretty cool. I actually had a good time. I found what I was looking for. I found a guild that was doing, you know, it was pretty regular, and we weren't high level raiders or anything, but we were doing 3-man and 5-man instances and things like that. Whatever, you know, whatever we could do that was our level, and we had fun doing it. It wasn't real serious, but it wasn't, you know, total goof off either. So that was a lot of fun. And I did that for probably almost 3 years. I did VIP for the last 2, and then I fell off VIP for about 6 months and played it with just the content that I had earned through VIP status and purchased and stuff with my stipend. And then, you know, people started to fall off, as they do in a guild. And when it came to a point where I wasn't sure if there was a reason I was logging in every night, and, you know, things started to get repetitious, I just kind of fell out of love with it. So I've got a couple level 100s that haven't advanced to the 105 level yet. And they're kind of stuck right on the edge of Minas Tirith there. My hunter is level 100, and I've got a 100 lore master as well. Or maybe he's 95. You know, he's in there somewhere. Two high levels, and then a bunch that are like around 50 in the Moria. And then like I've got a level 25 Runekeeper. And several of them, since I haven't played for a while, are still stuck in Winfola Purgatory. I've never extracted them.
You never clicked the transfer.
No, I haven't transferred them yet. They're just sitting there going, why me? You know. So that's about where I'm at with the game. I haven't played it very seriously at all for probably almost a year now, but I was pretty heavy into it for about 3.5 years.
Now, do you still play with your boys?
Occasionally. That's actually why my Runekeeper is not, you know, left over on Winfola right now, because a couple weeks ago one of my sons came over to me and said, you haven't played Lotro in a while. And the only character that I had that was around his level was this level 25 Runekeeper I had to pull him out of Purgatory and slap him on Landreval so we could play.
Nice. That's some good times. So Chad.
Yes, sir.
I think that you're like me. You're like just in purgatory somewhere in the middle of the game. So what's your story and where you at?
So when the game first came out, I was sort of obsessed with MMOs, and but I never really got attached to any of them. I played EverQuest and I played WoW. I know that's embarrassing. I'm really sorry.
No embarrassment there.
But I was really excited for this because I was huge in Lord of the Rings at the time. Obviously, you know, the movies had all been come and gone, I think, when this came out, right? Or was, I don't know, but it was still popular. You know, and I'd read the books when I was younger and that kind of thing. And I really enjoyed the game for a while, but the idea of paying that $15 a month for something that I wasn't going to play every day just didn't seem like a value after you pay $60 for the damn thing.
Yeah.
Back then you had to, you know? So when it became free to play, I picked it up again. And at this point, I think I'm like level 50. But I like taking my time with the game. I'm really big on like going around and reading all of the dialogue, all the text, you know, talking to every character I can, kind of doing every quest. I actually really enjoy it. I think that what Turbine has done in terms of creating the world is freaking amazing. And I think that it stands up to any MMO in the market. But at the same time, Pimp Daddy, you and I were talking earlier, I have issues with the grindy stuff. Like, I don't like going out and killing wolves for tokens and that kind of thing. Like, I don't enjoy doing that. So the more money I have to put into the game, the more burned out I get. So I kind of go in spurts with it, that kind of thing. But you know, I'm cool with it as long as I don't shut it down. I'll always go back and play it for a little bit. I only have 2 characters though, and I don't really pass myself resources, but I do craft. I do participate and contribute to the economy of Meneldor, which was shut down. So now I'm on Landerville with you guys, and I haven't really played since the server moved that much. But, which is strange because now I'll have people to play with. It won't be a ghost town anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, Meneldor, man, like that was the issue too. Is the game was so consolidated on like Brandywine for servers that my server, you never had anyone to play with, and you got bored quick. My you know, my guild only had like 2 active people at a time, and yeah, it's a tragedy, man. It's a tragedy. So
on in my case, I started off when we were doing the late night steamer podcast. Somebody God, what was it? Somebody on a separate movie podcast that was part of our network decided to come up with this great idea that we would all play Lord of the Rings online when it went free to play for 1 month. And then we would also do a co-show with this movie podcast about Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. It ended up being like a 3.5-hour episode that's stuck out there on the internet somewhere. Fantastic show. My God, we talked way too much about Lord of the Rings. But
is that possible? I mean, I love Lord of the Rings. Is that even conceivable?
We were drinking hard that night too. That was the bad part, and it was you know, it was recorded, so
and it's out there for
it's out there somewhere where we tried to tackle the Fellowship of the Ring and Lord of the Rings on the same show, and there was like 7 of us on the show, so it was just doomed to fail. So right after that show, a couple of the people in our podcast at the time kept playing, and then eventually they all just quit. They're like, I'm so sick of this, you know. I actually invited some of them onto the show tonight because I literally at the time, you know, I just sort of blew off their criticism as, you know, just haters. But over time, I see that some of their points are a little bit valid, you know, about we start comparing Lord of the Rings online to other MMOs, right? So I invited him on the show because I'm like, I need, like, you know, every good wrestling story needs a villain. Like, I wanted somebody to come on the show and just rip the game apart, you know. And they declined. I couldn't get them on the show. It sucks.
How would you rip the game apart, though? I mean, if you like MMOs, Lord of the Rings Online is pretty standard, but you know,
I swear, I think it's because, you know, their allegiance to WoW or something. But but you know, they had their rules. They had technical, you know, excuses that, you know, I've seen sort of play out in front of me, you know. But see, and this is something we could start as a discussion topic, right? One thing that I always sort of they argued with me about was that, you know, the middle of the game is just too grindy, and, you know, it takes forever to get to the end of game, right? Whereas they're sort of in that classical WoW mentality, and a couple of you guys have played WoW, and you know, and our guests here. Mm-hmm. Does WoW seem like it gives you the most money at in-game grinding, whereas, like, I'm seeing Lord of the Rings is like the journey is the adventure, you know?
Totally agree. I think that WoW, the only reason it may be more worth your dollars just because there's more of a social aspect to it. At least there used to be when I played. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that WoW is way more grindy than Lotro, and the quests are literally repeated over and over again.
Really? It's worse than Lotro.
Way worse.
I've only played like the free trial of WoW where you can only get up to level 20, and I never made it that far. I think I made it to maybe level 10.
There's someone in the
I have a level 80.
in the Players Alliance there's someone in the Players Alliance group that's playing like a completely free, not paying a cent version of Lotro to see how far he can get. Who is that? Carve, yeah.
There's no way you could do that.
Yeah,
that can't be done, can it?
You could technically.
He's bought Angmar, he's bought Evendim, and he actually got the Moria expansion. I mean, it's
just through in-game turbine points.
Just through in-game.
Are you serious?
In-game earned turbine points. He has not bought a thing, not spent any money at all.
Can you imagine how many sticky filths that guy's sold? It's got to be outrageous. He's gonna have the biggest pile of pelts this world's ever seen.
Oh, so many wolves killed. Oh.
Yeah, he streams that every Saturday on his Twitch channel.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I'm like, that's good. God bless him. I
mean, he's
can't
got
do that,
a VIP
no
account too, but he's doing this on a server that he doesn't have alts on his VIP even. So he's just
he set up like a completely separate account just for this. Yeah, because so when I switched from when everybody else at my podcast back in the day left Lotro, I was literally left as the head of our guild. And then I was a guild of one, and I walked around like the intro areas, and I kept trying to give the guild away to somebody. It was hilarious. Like I was literally like, "Hey, you want to be a part of our guild?" And they're like, "Maybe," and I'll be like, "Okay, you could be in charge." They'd be like, "What?" And then they just sort of like, "Leave me alone, weirdo." And I'm like, "No, take the guild. I don't want it to die." Like,
why didn't you just usurp your own authority and give it back to the people? You guys can have a flat structure in your guild.
This was on Winfola. So as soon as everybody left in the guild, I was stuck on Winfola, and I ground solo with a minstrel all the way to like the middle of Moria. And that's where the game just beat me down to a pulp, and I just couldn't take it anymore.
Moria is good for that.
Especially as a minstrel.
Man.
As a minstrel. Solo as a minstrel in Moria. I just I was doing...
I was like cool attack minstrel though.
Yeah,
obviously.
I was like 9 levels above the content, and I was still getting my butt handed to me.
You need to sing better songs.
Yeah, and then one day somebody was like, "You should just join Land Roval," and so I did, and like, man, the differences between Winfola before they even announced that the servers were dying, and Land Roval are like night and day. Suddenly, you're just like. There's just festivals going on everywhere. There's just bands playing. Terry, you were alluding to a band just playing in the middle of the street.
Landy was good for that.
Yeah,
Landy's always good for that.
So I'm part of a reasonably sized guild, and literally I think the only reason I joined that guild was because of the former casual Strota Mortar people. They sweet talked me into it, so I'm part of the Council of Secret Fire.
Is that good?
Yeah. Land Roval is just unbelievable because even when you're playing solo, you still feel like you're sort of nearby people. Like
I've noticed that, man.
Nowhere, and you could just run into somebody in the middle of nowhere, and people actually literally stop and role play, like wave their hands and stuff.
Anywhere.
It's great. And there was one time I even came across I cannot remember. See, I'm like half like I earned my naughty title, right? I'm Sarah the Naughty. If you look me up on Land Roval. Some genius has like came along and they started like teaching me all the musical instruments. So I got the bagpipes, and I'm just like 1 or 2 levels I think from getting what's that horrible horn?
The pipgorn.
The pigborn, yeah. So I'm like right there at getting that, and Land Roval is just never going to be the same after I get that. I frequently, like, if I come across a group that's fighting a huge battle, I'll equip my bagpipes and I'll start playing Scotland the Brave, and
So
it's
you're the reason
hilarious.
that people turn off player music.
It's hilarious because they'll just be like, there's this huge epic battle, and then I'm just sitting there playing bagpipes in the middle of it, and everyone's just laughing. Just
I gotta turn my player music back on. I turned it off because ever since I've been a Land Rover, some guy will always come by me and think you could let me. No,
I'm a little bit more subtle. I play actual music.
Like you're just hitting 7 and 8 over and over again. I know it.
Oh man. So I threw down a couple questions I want to throw out for discussion here. For those of you who've been with the game for years and years and years, which release
Here I go. I
method
get
do you
passed
think was
over again.
most effective? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
DJ, what are you doing to me? I'm the co-host.
Wow.
Slap.
You're not even as bad as that green guy, whatever the hell
We
we all
have too
need.
many people on.
All right,
like 3 people.
We'll move it on. I will relink, but for if anybody who is actually listening
to the list here, Raetac.
I am an ex-Lotro player. I gave up long before people actually moved on from Lothlorien. Originally, I actually bought the game in some $5 bin in some was a furniture store, which they had a electronics part of it. So
a $5. Yeah, you got the game in a $5 bin at a furniture store.
Absolutely.
I love this story so far.
I was trying to work in a not idly do these leaves of Lorien fall, but I couldn't.
And I suppose, long story short, as a bit of the back history, I'm a ex-WoW player as well, which I had to leave due to having a highly addictive personality. So I had to put it down, and eventually I had to put Lotro down for the same reason.
That is a tragic, sad way to end that, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were the one that suggested this topic.
Holy crap. Well, I used to have a heroin addiction, so. No, that's not true. I just wanted you to feel better.
No, well, actually, I was an ex-smoker. I've given up. I've been clean for at least 10 years, so I'm good there.
Hear, hear.
Rock on, man. Yeah, I still smoke.
I have to
not cigarettes, though.
Somebody in the game.
I had to. I did my smoking phase when I was in EMT of all times.
I love cigars, man. Love hookah. I definitely still smoke sometimes. I would smoke marijuana, but it's illegal, so I don't do that.
Being there, done that does nothing for the brain.
You're in Florida. I'm sure there's some weird stuff that comes through.
What, you can't get weed here. No, it's illegal.
With all those people, with the old people with the glaucoma, how's that not illegal yet?
I believe we're going to pass medical, but only for old people and babies.
Trying to help.
Okay, so what was my question? Oh yeah, the content. So over the years, Turbine has sort of like they've sort of flip-flopped back and forth in how they release things. Do they do a huge release? Do they do minor incremental updates? Do they do free updates? Do they sell you zones? Like, how do you guys feel they sort of nailed something that sort of struck not only like, a common thread amongst people that would actually be profitable for them, but also, something that you actually were willing to pay for and you actually felt like you got value for? Let's start with you, Terry, because you've been around.
Well, I actually haven't been around as long as everybody thinks I've been around.
Well, you got like 100 characters, so.
I know, I was going to say, they're all like over 100.
I have 58 characters.
Designated expert.
What? I don't have 58 anything.
Yeah, only 58. I started pre-Rohan, and Rohan actually was the first expansion that I purchased. And the reason I purchased it was because I got a horse and some matching armor. So that should pretty much tell you how I feel about stuff you can purchase in game.
Are you a cosmetic fan? Like, you like cosmetic stuff? The way your character looks? Yeah, interesting.
Like my storage is crammed with cosmetics to the point where I actually have a character named Storage, who is my cosmetic storage.
See, I didn't even use the wardrobe. I've never even put stuff in there.
Yeah, I think I'm up to like 90 spots in the wardrobe now.
Oh my
but
god!
I use them. Yeah, I use them sparingly because you can only fit so much in there. There's way more cosmetics than will actually fit in your wardrobe.
So, like when they say, "Oh, the sale this week is cosmetics," you're like, "Yippee!"
Yeah,
you're like literally like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna wear?"
Yeah, what am I doing in the sale?
It's funny because I don't encourage people to buy cosmetics from the store, but I love when they put wardrobe spaces
wardrobe,
and shared storage and cosmetics stuff on sale. We need a sale on worsted dyes because those things are expensive.
So people can't craft that?
Nope. They can only be purchased, and they're per character, and they're really expensive.
You can't craft any cosmetic items, can you?
You can't craft cosmetics with the exception of actually you can. The Lossoth up in Forakel have cosmetic pieces that you can craft if you get kindred with them.
Oh, I did not know that. Interesting.
But you can always craft like low level.
You can always
trash
craft
and dye it.
that can be
then
used
put in your cosmetic slot, right? You can just do that.
Yeah.
I've never done that, but I know you can.
I used to.
If it's armor that's above your level, or if it's like a different type of armor, like your light armor class, but it's a medium armor piece you want to wear, you have to use the wardrobe for that.
So,
interesting.
Do you think that they're I guess back to the question, as far as like releasing content, which method do you actually enjoy? Like the small releases, the big build up, teasing you for months kind of releases? Dangling a string.
I enjoy the little releases because those little areas as VIP I don't have to pay for.
That is true.
They're free for VIP. I don't have to spend turbine points on them.
Oh, that's true. So, yeah, I thought about going VIP just because it kind of does pay for itself, but I don't play the game enough. Again, and those tokens don't add up forever, right?
Well, I mean, they don't go anywhere unless you spend them.
Right.
Yeah. When I stopped being VIP, your tokens stay there, so you don't lose them.
Yeah, you're not going to lose the turbine points, so.
I guess like I always assume when you have your own currency that you're a scam, you know? You know what I mean? Any kind of game that's like Microsoft points, and you're like, what the hell is this? I always had 10. And it was just immutable. That would never go away.
I have definitely came to that conclusion that anything that makes you sort of microtransaction in their own currency is definitely some sort of a scam, a way to sort of make you not feel bad about spending a ridiculous amount of money.
It's a psychological thing. You're like, I'm just spending turbine points.
But see, the counter argument I would say is, look at Carvet,
Yeah, you can
the game for free.
You can technically go through and earn turbine points to unlock everything in the game and not spend a cent. There's actually one of the Lotro streamers that I've talked to, Big Ed Mustafa, which is an awesome Twitch name, by the way, and he's a hilarious guy to watch. He's got a character at cap, and he has never spent a cent. He's never been VIP. He's not.
Wow, man,
he's totally free to play.
That's awesome. That's impressive.
So many dead wolves.
Yeah. It's not by any means easy, but it's totally doable.
The guy's worse than Hitler.
It's just
Lotro actually has probably one of the best free-to-play models out there.
I will completely agree with that. Yeah.
Having explored other MMOs that have the free-to-play model, at least you can earn Lotro currency in-game. Granted, it takes you extra time to do it, but it can be done. There's plenty of other games out there where you cannot get their currency without spending some kind of real-world cash.
Or they have some other scam, like EverQuest 2 used to have a different version of EverQuest for the free people, and then it had like crappy islands. Like, well, you want to come to the real world, you better pay, jackass.
What's that? The space game, Eve. That's the one that it like ruins people and bankrupts them, and
they're going free to play.
They're going free to play now. They're not yet. They're actually still subscription days.
It's over.
But I will agree. Lord of the Rings Online's free to play model is great. Like for me, I just sort of buy locations as I come to them, and I really don't put that much money into the game at all. And it's perfect for slow players like me who are going to spend 25 years in Moria.
Actually, by
you
the
can
time
actually like go VIP for a month. Sorry, you can go VIP for a month to unlock some stuff. Like it'll unlock the wallet, it'll unlock some Swift travels, it unlocks a bunch of stuff that doesn't relock when your VIP lapses. So you could do that for a month. So for $15, you're unlocking a bunch of stuff that's going to save you turbine points eventually later on, and then just earn turbine points for everything else. Plus, when you go VIP, you get 500 turbine points. So
plus it raises your social class. If once you subscribe once, you're no longer a basic player. I think you're a premium player.
Yeah, you're premium.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah.
Premiums for life.
That's right.
I just threw a gang sign up. There's no video case. You can't see this.
No, admittedly, when Lotro went to free to play, it was around the time I actually did quit, actually, and I must admit I was a little apprehensive about how the whole thing would actually pan out, because I was
you saw the free to play people and he's like peasants.
No, it's just like they were going to lock content between like behind points and stuff. I didn't really understand how that was going to pan out. Because I was so used to actually being in this subscription model. I've played WoW for years, and I basically come into Lotro and played that for, I don't know, however long, maybe about a year, maybe 2-ish. And yeah, the move to free to play was actually quite unnerving for myself.
Yeah, I think
it's like
there's so many First off, there's conspiracy theories when you say, "Oh, it's going free to play," and then it's just like, "Oh, the game's over. Might as well quit." You know?
Is that a conspiracy theory though? The conspiracy theory would be like they're gonna make us all play DDO in the end, man. We're going over there.
Okay, I tried playing that game, and
Same.
It's hard as hell.
Hated it.
We got Dracula in chat, and yeah, he'll. He's really good at that game. I could not make it past the starter area.
I couldn't get past the narrator's voice.
I kept dying.
There's water dripping on the walls. You're like, I know, I can see it. There's sound effects. I don't know why you're talking. Just
dramatic effect. But seriously, go check out DDO Players on Monday nights on the Players Alliance. Anyways, so Brax or Ray, do you have any like thoughts on the content release methods?
Whether there's a drip feed or like big patches. To be drip feed, okay, you can drip feed like smaller areas, but definitely big content patches for like bigger areas that open up. I'd prefer to see that rather than piecemeal.
You'd love to see Moria just be like boom. Or Mordor, I'm sorry. Just was like boom, Mordor. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, is that because you feel like you get more value, or because that feels like the game is still surviving? Because the issue I have with no expansions is it makes me feel like the game is dead. But I don't know if I really felt like I got more value out of buying Moria than I did just buying,
But in saying that, I mean, you're playing an MMO. It's something that you've got things to do with, regardless of whether things are happening, like being added or not.
Okay, just side thing. I think we could all agree that Moria, just by itself, was a good expansion. Just because, my God, that is a big place.
It's huge, massive.
So many falling deaths.
It makes me sad that like someday the servers will be shut off because that thing is beautiful. Like it's a work of art. It's pretty damn amazing.
I will agree with that.
I think you need expansions for a game the age of Lotro, because it's really, really hard to get any press otherwise. And I think this kind of goes into what Chad was saying earlier, was it feels like the game is dying because you never hear anything about it. Every time they release an expansion, you get more press, whether it's a huge success or not. At least you're keeping it in front of people,
Right, you get it on IGN's homepage, Seriously. I mean, but now you're not. I mean, no one cares about the Bjorns. I mean, that was on Lotro blogs, but the big game media didn't cover it. But they did cover, whatever what is the Rohan expansion, the last one? They did mention that. So
Helm's Deep,
yeah, thank you.
By the way, they're not called Bjorns, they're called overpowered furballs.
Yeah, they are definitely OP.
Bam, that just happened.
Yeah. Oh no, she didn't.
Yes, I did.
Hang on. There we go. Sending something. Carve might be joining us. You're dead now. Carvette's joining. That's one more person to forget, Ray. Sorry.
I'm gonna get my hashtag down with bears in right now then.
So while he's joining, I did have on my list bears and epic battles.
I saw that.
I want to throw that out there and see if like this like pitchforks and torches or what if they're bears in epic battles?
There can only be one in the real battle of the 5 armies.
Bears and epic battles are the bomb, though.
Hey, welcome to
I've
the
never
chat,
actually
Star.
played them. Like that's the other thing too, is that's a part of the game I don't have any access to. Whereas with WoW, I think you can do arenas and stuff, and then they scale per level. I always felt like Lotro had this sort of reward for players who stick with it, which is it's really bad for us lowbies.
But you can do the Gondor epic battles.
No, you can't. Can you?
Yep,
You can unlock epic battles. Yeah, pretty.
The Helm's Deep
from
ones
level 10.
you can't do without buying Helm's Deep, but the other
I
one,
thought
Gondor
you can only
ones
do like the skirmishes.
Nope,
No.
you can do Gondor
wow,
epic
There's
battles.
epic battles you can unlock as early as I think 10.
Yep.
As
Wow,
long
I
as
did not
they're
know that.
included as part of the epic line, with the exception of the Helm Deep's content. Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I was on Meneldor and no one played them, so it's something I probably never got to experience, and that's true. Like we can
Welcome
all
to
laugh.
Landroval.
It was sad being there. You didn't know what it was like, man. You wouldn't.
You don't know what it's
Dude,
like.
no. When I left Winfola and I went to Landroval, and the first thing you see is like 5 chickens running by. Not one, but 5. Just like, okay, there's
Were
some
they
people
helping
on the
Bingo
server.
Boffin? I don't know what's happening there.
Terry,
And like
you're-
somewhere in the
you're-
back of your mind, there's the Benny Hinn theme going, and you're like,
Terry, you've actually flown the chicken off of Minas Tirith, right?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you did that.
I flew myself off Minas Tirith, but no, I have not.
Not with the chicken.
Not done a chicken off Minas Tirith. No, I've been a chicken like maybe 3 times because the girls of Middle Earth are aware that I am not a fan of playing a chicken. So yeah.
So
Like, chase you as a chicken?
you role play as a chicken.
You
it's
do
brilliant.
session play as a chicken. It's a thing.
I'm done.
Okay.
All it takes is a
You
little
and I are gonna-
imagination, and you're a level
and I
1
are
chicken.
gonna have to-
and
This is
can
this
run
is
for
a
your
PG
life.
show. So what are you
You
gonna
and
say?
I are gonna have to meet in game, and I will blow your mind. if you haven't been there yet, don't ruin it for him. Okay. So speaking of chickens, what's everybody's favorite content? Ray, you go first.
I suppose my favorite content of the content I've played was Moria. I loved it. I mean, admittedly, I've got a mind that actually remembers maps and as I go through them, and I almost just about memorized Moria.
So here's a fun side thing. It's like watching your YouTube channel, watching you play Minecraft. You really do, like when you play Minecraft, you really just Moria out all your bases. Like most people like build up or build out.
No,
You're
I
like,
dig in.
Gonna build me a tunnel. Gonna dig me a tunnel. Diggy diggy hole. Dig.
In fact, in one of my latest builds, there's actually starting to make like cave-like structures for my Thaumcraft stuff. So, yep, caves are a theme. I love
Nice.
By the way, I have an ABC file for Diggy Diggy Hole, so you can play it in game. By the way.
Oh hell yeah!
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
I will bring my bagpipes. We'll make it a day.
I want a video of that. I won't join Nitro. I just want someone to actually give me a video of that and just to see it. That'd be great.
So, Carve, you're new to the show here. Which part of what of the content is your favorite?
It is really hard to pin down a favorite. I mean, I have enjoyed every region that I've played thus far, except for the far reaches of Gondor, because I haven't gotten there yet. But
We'll list that as suck.
yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like I really have a fondness for Eriador because I've played it a lot, and as many times as I've rolled a new character and I've played up through Moria, I just don't get tired of it because there's like 3 or 4 different level paths I'll take. So whether I'm grinding TP on my free-to-play stream or whether I'm just playing a character I'm leveling up on XYZ server that I haven't been to yet, I find a new way to level through Eriador. And then I get to Moria and I take a deep breath. And then I do Moria again, you know? I mean, because it's like
Can I pay to skip Moria? I mean, if you're on an alt, you know.
You can't skip it, right? It's mandatory.
You can skip it, but you have to be artful at how much you do area door and how early you leave the other side. You can skip it. I know people who have done it. You just have to do everything you can in area door to get to like 55, and then just be willing to jump into the Dimmeldale at like 56 and just run for it.
Yeah, see, like, as epic as Moria was, when you get out the other side, and you're just like, oh, thank God, some fresh air, right? And you go into the Golden Wood, like, Moria was just freaking epic. And Lothlorien was just a downer. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I thought, if Moria was this epic, and they talk about, Moria in the books being depressing and blah, 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 and then you're like, oh, we're in the Golden Wood and everything's fairies and,
Why? Whatever. What happened in Moria? Why is it depressing?
Spoiler.
People.
What are you guys talking about? What happened there?
What happened in Moria? Dwarfs died.
Spoiler, an old man trips.
Yeah.
He's fine, though. No, really, he's fine.
The old man trip. Somebody lost his hat. Well, I think for me, the contrast of Moria to Lothlorien, especially when you're a part of this dwarven expedition that's going to reclaim their long lost homeland, and you're going through and you're literally clearing out as you progress through the story. It's like you're following a week's worth of, or several weeks and months worth of dwarven activity through that entire epic book too, which is just fantastic.
And then you get to Lothlorien and you get to do parties and stuff and nice frilly things.
Yeah, and then the elves are like, well, that's great that you made it out of the dark and all, but you got to go back.
Yeah, you're just like, oh.
And not only do you have to go back, you have to go back to the worst, nastiest part of Moria.
It's just like, elves, they're dicks. It's like, I don't want to go back in. I want to stay out.
Clearly, Pimp Daddy plays a dwarf. Am I right?
I play a hobbit.
No.
Play a female hobbit guardian. Not to be ironic.
Like my favorite area though is probably Evendim.
Go
the
around
Rangers.
drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon. I would do it. That's how ironic my character is. No. Okay. Evendim.
Yeah, the wardens. I love doing those quests. The like attack and defend quests. I don't know, man. Like that was the first area where I got my rep all the way up, so that I was one of the wardens, I guess. I don't know what that means, except they trade cooler stuff to me. But yeah, like that was the first area of the game that I really got super hooked on. And then actually Moria was kind of where I got burnt out, even though I really enjoyed it. So go figure.
I have to admit, the second time I went into Moria, like I went in there with a mind to sort of just plow through as much as I could, and there must be some sort of like a grindy spot where we both sort of burnt out. But on my second playthrough, I just got past that really quickly. And then I just started falling in love with just the ridiculous set pieces, you're sort of running through.
Yeah.
You got to have a goat. Like, go out of your way to buy or steal a goat.
Oh, goats were the best.
Is like the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, is that not the coolest place in gaming?
Oh yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
but it's awesome. It's really gonna be sad. Like I said, it's art, man. And when the servers shut down someday, the fact that we don't have museums set up to like capture this stuff is really sad. It's just gonna exist in a bunch of YouTube videos, and there's gonna be horrible comments on it that we can't read on this show.
There is a not the plug-in, but somewhere out there is a I'll have to find it. There's a podcast that I listen to where it's almost like NPR style podcasting, and
they every 2 seconds.
They interviewed they interviewed they did a story about the death of digital worlds and how the Library of Congress and some other universities are trying to sort of save them and archive them. The whole podcast is like, how do you archive an MMO? Like that was the thing. It was really weird.
That would be interesting.
Utterly fascinating. I will find that somehow.
So I did some copyright law, almost went to law school, and that's the biggest barrier to like saving video games is the fact that these companies, because of these licensing agreements for something like Lord of the Rings Online, they have to destroy it as per their agreement. You know what I mean? That might be the case.
Wow.
So like capturing it for the public record is sort of, it's actually almost illegal. I mean, I doubt anyone would sue for it, but it is technically a violation of like their contract.
Oh, what
That
a
was a life
shame.
well wasted, DJ.
Yes, A Life Well Wasted. That was it. The show is called A Life Well Wasted. I think it's still out on iTunes and other stuff. But yeah, look at the A Life Well Wasted, and there's only like 13 episodes. The guy, he only released like one episode every 2 months. It's some fantastic listening. But find the archiving episode. It was a really good, really good listen.
Like
So,
there's an EverQuest game for PS2 that just will never exist again, and I don't think anyone has saved it. Right? What was that Online Adventures? I think it was called. Like that game's just gone forever, and people have the discs, but
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't exist as far as I know. I don't think there's
someday, you know, I even now I own Steam games that were MMOs that have fallen, you know. They were like, oh, they just fizzled out real quick, and then just like, okay, well, I own the software, it doesn't do anything.
Maybe it'll resurrect from the dead like Ashran's Call 2, then all of a sudden it'll just be like, wow, it exists again? On one server somewhere? Yeah.
So Brax, what's your favorite content?
I forgot about Evendom. That's a pretty good one too, but I was going to go with Eregion just because there's a couple areas in the game where the quests just flow really, really well. And Eregion is one of those places, and it's beautiful, and it's outside, and it's kind of classic Lotro. It's before mounted combat and legendary weapons and all that stuff. So one of my favorite areas, and I would say Evendom's a really close second, though. I kind of forgot about that area, but it's very similarly really good quest flow, really good story through there. Although there is some swimming, which is kind of annoying. But
that's the worst part of it. I'm just gonna say that. I love the
what, like ever swim?
No, but like you had to like take these boats to the different islands and stuff, and it was a pain in the ass sometimes.
Well,
like it was.
Well, if you got Swift Travel as a VIP player, or if you got one of those fancy travel tokens, those boats are awesome.
I think
if you have
spend
not,
like mithril coins to boost.
Yeah,
it,
you
like,
can do that. You can do that now too.
If I remember right, the boats weren't always there.
No, they weren't.
They were when I started playing, but people talk about, you know, the old days of Lotro when you really had to swim everywhere.
You had to literally swim. Oh my god!
Like Everswim, I have spent like 15 minutes of my real life swimming from Anuminus back to Tinudir because I didn't have the Swift Travels at the time. And there was one occasion I was like doing something, and I set myself on course to Tinudir from Anuminus, and I went and I did something else, and I came back later to find myself like halfway across the map up in some wall, right all the way up to Osferad, and I'm like, oh, I guess I was gone too long.
So the island in Evendom where you had to kill all those salamanders for a half hour, you had to actually swim out there to torture yourself?
Yep.
Oh man, that was the worst part of that area. You got to kill all those salamanders forever.
The first time I swam out to one of those weird islands, that was the first time I came across Floyd.
Yeah.
Like,
he's out there.
He's just hanging out on one of the islands out there.
Yeah, there's a sandcastle out there too somewhere.
Floyd or something like that?
Who are you guys talking about? Wait.
Floyd DeWitt. He's an Easter egg. He's like an explorer and his mule, and they're hidden in various regions throughout the game.
I've never seen
crazy places.
Yeah, like if you go up to Weathertop and you go behind one of the walls on the very top, he's right there, and that's usually the first place you find him. But he's on one of those tiny little islands way out in the middle of Evendom.
And when you meet him, he's just sitting there drinking a pint of beer, and he's got a pony next to him.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's a deed for finding all the different places he hangs out.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I see that stuff like that makes the game kind of beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Seriously.
I must admit, I'm actually starting to really walk down memory lane with everybody's talking about this stuff. It's like, yeah, I remember that.
Oh God, he's gonna install it.
No. No.
Why don't you go be Bingo
First one, boy. I haven't done bingo yet, so I'll throw that out there.
Aaron B word. I don't want to swear. That's all it is. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna go on this quest. Fetch me these apples, and you're like, fine, I guess.
Yeah, Bingo is a bit of a idiot.
Yeah. I was gonna climb this tower, but I'm gonna take a nap. You can do it for me. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this question out there. You hardcore players. I'm looking at you, Carve, right?
Okay. It's the beard, right?
Do you think that it was actually helping or hurting by making all of the Epic Quest content solo playable?
Well, I think the way to answer that question is you have to look at your player base. So many games have gone to the idea that, back 10 years ago, and I want to say it was Brax who wrote a podcast about this, or wrote an article, or pointed me to an article, and I kind of was like, yeah, okay, I get that. 10 years ago, people had time to invest hours and hours and hours in raiding guilds and everything else, and there are people that still like to play that, but a lot of those players 10 years ago are now my age, and they got kids, and they got jobs, and they got wives, and they got kids to get to school, and they don't have the kind of time to invest. So when they do want to play, they're looking for like a 3-hour thing. I can get on and get off. I don't have to coordinate with other people. So making a massive multiplayer solo game, for lack of a better term, makes a lot more sense in this market for some reasons, but at the same time, you do still have the massive multiplayer aspect of it, and there are people that do want to join together and they want to do things. So I think for the game market, it helped in the sense that it made it easier for people to go in, because I used to listen, one of my coworkers that I still work with actually got me into Lotro when he goes, hey, you got a new graphics card, your computer will do that. Oh, by the way, this one's free. Oh, is it free? And it's Lord of the Rings? I'm down. And so I talked Mrs. Carve into it, and that was like 4.5 years ago, nearly 5 now. But it was the idea that I can play this game by myself, or I can play it with friends. And I've done both, and I enjoy both. It's just that a lot of people don't have the time to invest like they used to.
Do you feel like the place new players get burned out? Because I've tried to bring a lot of people into the game, like girlfriends and that kind of thing. And the place they always stop is when you have to get the horse, because you have to get the riding skill and then buy the horse. And like there's like a 3-part thing. So you kind of have to
I paid my way past that.
Exactly. Honestly, like, that seems to be like that's where people are like, well, F this, I'm done. It's no longer free.
Well, I mean,
that's the first moment.
You can play the game for free if you want to. I can say that because I have a character who is level 57 halfway through Moria, and I've paid not a dime on that account. It has all been in-game turbine point earning. That being said, what you pay for in terms of turbine points, you pay time instead of wallet money. Do I still have a VIP account? Sure do. I use that for my bingo buff and when I play with Mrs. Carve and for the other stuff I do, so I can keep track of the other things. But when it comes right down to it, it only takes the first 2 zones to earn enough turbine points to get a mount. I mean, you can actually earn the turbine points in-game to get your mount by the time you're actually level 20 that you'd want to get the mount.
See, I guess I didn't realize that because it's not totally clear, because you get there organically and you can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 95 turbine points to get the mount. And if you do all the deeds that are available in your first zone, by the time you get to level 20 where it's really kind of advantageous to have a mount, you've got the points already earned up.
See, do you feel like they do a good job of educating casual players who may not go in a forum about how you earn tokens and like exactly what the completion of deeds benefits you? I mean,
I would say
I don't know any game that really screams, hey, you can do this and play our game for free.
No, of course not. But Lord of the Rings Online isn't.
I mean, honestly, as far as I've played a few other free-to-play games out there. That one with that one star franchise that I'm not going to name, and then there's a couple others that I've kind of dabbled in.
I don't even know.
No, SWOTOR. But when it comes right down to free-to-play models where they give you a whole mess of stuff and then they give you the ability to earn more stuff in-game, I really haven't encountered any that are as generous as Lotro is.
Yeah, I know. You missed it earlier. I was praising the model in general.
Yeah. I mean, Lotro is insanely generous with what you can do. I mean, I've been playing my free-to-play account since mid-October of 2015, and you can go on my Twitch page and see how much I've unlocked by simply playing characters and goofing off. And there's some grinding involved, but I have a tendency to, I want to do something brainless for an hour. I'll just roll up a new character and grind out some turbine points. So I've unlocked a lot of content. Most of Eriador.
The thing that I'll interject in this, and this is from, like, at one point I literally did a blog post where I calculated how it was advantageous to just be VIP for 1 month and then sort of grind your way up.
Oh, yeah.
But there are several things that are severely game-changing for the best, where it's sort of it enables you to enjoy the game a lot more if you do spend a little bit of money. I mean, for Christ, the earlier unlocking the horse, one of them, the 72% mount speed. Oh my God, that was a game changer for me. Where you just buy that advanced mount speed.
Well, that one's
everything
pretty
you
high
pick
dollar
up
too, though. But
that
once you
is
get
high
that
dollar,
journeyman
but, like,
mount speed, that's like
See,
wow.
I've refused to buy that. I have held out.
Of course,
that is the kind of thing that you save up until it goes on sale, which it goes on sale like maybe once a year.
Yeah.
And if you got I guess it's like $29.95 turbine points. So if you've got the discounted price or whatever it is, you buy that thing and then you forget about it, because every character you start on that account from that point forward starts with the writing skill. And if you've bought any kind of expansion, you're going to have mounts that come with it. So you like literally leave the starting noob zone and bam, you're on a horse.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool too.
With the fastest horse.
It's awesome. and you're at like plus 78 speed, so you're blazing fast.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind when they like, to make the game more convenient or to save time, essentially make you spend money. But I feel like not having a mount at all, it stops your ability from exploring the world, which is something I think they should offer for free as opposed to paying for the areas in the quest packs.
And see, this is why I tell everybody I meet, if they're on the fence, I'm like, just sign up for 1 month, because you unlock the gold currency, you unlock all the bags. Like, oh my God, there's so much stuff it unlocks that makes the game so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought zones. I put money into it, and it definitely.
And since then, ever since I stopped being VIP and now I'm just a lowly premium, since I'm taking my time through the game, I only buy things when it comes up on a Steam sale. So
that's how I've unlocked all the content on my free to play. I wait for stuff to be on sale.
If I make it through Helm's Deep, my game will just end because I haven't purchased anything past there.
I think that I've never played past Moria, but I think I bought that 3 expansion pack on Steam, and it was like $20 or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have like the platinum pack, which is like everything. Correct?
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. So I think I have all those expansions. I've never played them, but.
And for me, I purchased that. I purchased that for my son because we started playing together.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
At the rate we're playing, we're not even going to make it to Moria by the time the game goes. So
yeah, I understand that. I have accounts for 2 of my 3 daughters, and when we play, it's like at best I can get them to pay attention for an hour, but their accounts are intentionally free to play because I think they're premium because like I got picked up a Steam sale and both of them got like the what is it, the Stealing Dawn pack or something like that?
Oh yeah.
And that was it. They got some trinkets, they got some stuff for their accounts, and I think neither one of them is higher than 20 level. But every now and again we play. So
Brax is ducking out of the conversation. Speaking of kids,
yes, he's got to go hashtag dad. Have a good one, Brax. I understand.
People with responsibilities and children.
Parents,
you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Well, I drugged my kids up. They're asleep. No, I'm just kidding.
I just turned 30, so I'm just.
I dispatched wife unit, so we're good there.
You just turned 30? Damn.
Yeah, I just turned 30. Yeah.
Okay, so December is my 40th birthday. You got to make it up to Cincinnati if you want to get on the bus. We're hitting all the breweries.
Oh my God! You know what? I will actually be there.
There's 29. There's 29 breweries in town.
Well,
by the
I
way.
have a bunch of friends there I want to visit. Like that sounds a good idea, man. Let me know. I'm in.
That's
I'm
awesome.
just saying.
This is perfect.
You're gonna have to have a dolly to get you off the bus when we're done.
Oh,
you're in the same bracket I am.
My
DJ.
tolerance has gone downhill. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 41 here in a couple weeks, so I understand completely.
So car,
That's
right?
your tolerance when you're 40.
So what?
As soon as I hit 30, I feel like I have 3 beers. I'm like, that's it. And I was not keeping up in college.
No, actually, it gets better as you get into your 40s. Your tolerance starts to just basically increase again.
Is that true? I've heard that before. I think I'm going to put it to the test, but
I'll find out. I'm working on it. I only got 5 empty bottles next to me.
I'll be there, man. I'll be there.
It's Oktoberfest, so it's some good dark stuff. So
the dark stuff is the best stuff.
We've been talking for a long time, so I want to get on to some of these topics here. Right now, one thing that everybody always gushes about Lord of the Rings Online is the music and the role-playing system. Are there any other systems that you guys think that are sort of unique to Lotro that sort of make it stand out?
Just the music?
the others.
Well, to be fair, there's not really a system for roleplay. It's just something that people do.
Yeah, it's kind of player created. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
And
like
I
it
avoid it
encourages
whenever
RP
possible.
though.
I mean, I don't go anywhere near free on Landroval if I can help it.
So do you not roleplay? I really don't
roleplay.
But... Yeah, I don't either.
I should put a caveat on that. I don't roleplay in Lotro. I mean, I have roleplayed in other things. I don't roleplay in game.
I did yeah. I've done some live action role playing when I was younger.
Oh my god, a laugher! Oh my god, nerd!
That sounds.
I actually went with a girl. This is true. I actually went with a girl.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Who I did not have sex with. So
while I'll admit to D&Ding, LARPing, I don't know.
It's a sad thing when you got the D&D guys calling LARPers nerds. Come on.
I know, seriously. Usually we just rolled the dice. Yeah.
I mean, as somebody who only recently got back into Dungeons and Dragons and taking over as DM on our group on Monday, it's just kind of like, okay, we're all calling each other nerds, but we're all nerds. We all should just own it and get on with it. I mean, whatever.
Well, if you want it to be worse, it was for Vampire the Masquerade. I'm going to turn my mic off now.
Oh, God. There's no shame in that.
Yeah. Once you start talking about Lotro systems that are really good, is I hear a lot of people talking about the cosmetics, and I'm pretty sure there are other games that do a bang up job on cosmetics too. I just don't have much experience with them. I like having a cool looking character, and even if I am like some days, I just want to be that guy in the dwarven starter gear that's pretty much all steel and leather, and it looks great. Or if I want to be that BA looking dude who just killed a dragon, he's got the dragon's face on his chest, you can do that too.
Actually, I think Lotro was one of the first MMOs that actually really turned that out, wasn't it?
The cosmetic stuff, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
I think it was. I don't really remember.
I think it is one of the best ones out there. I mean, having tried my share of basically everything that's available for free, I've tried it at some point. And of course, I always play with cosmetics because I don't want my character to look like the captain looks when it first comes out of the starter area. Friends don't let friends walk around in starter gear. I'm sorry, they just don't. So
you could tell who
starter gear into my.
You could tell who just made it to Bree by the hat that they wear. He's just like, yep, there goes the new guy.
They got that turtle hat. Yep. Been out of comb long. Yeah.
So yeah, Lotro definitely has one of the best, if not the absolute best, systems for cosmetics of any MMO anywhere.
Yeah, but see that sort of with the music and the cosmetic system, that sort of rolls back into the role playing system. You know, it sort of enables that individuality. Whereas, like when I played Elder Scrolls Online, they have cosmetics, but it was like, oh, you got to purchase this entire outfit. You know,
I mean,
I did that because I'm a sucker, but you know, I felt bad afterwards.
I mean, hell, literally had like kinships revolving around bands. I mean, I had a few tunes in the Lonely Mountain band during the day.
Some of the player bands are actually great too, in like the heyday of the game. I would get on just for like
still
the
are.
fest.
They still are, yeah.
They're still good. Yeah, I haven't been to.
Weatherstock is still a thing.
Well, see, I was on Meneldor, so I never got to go. But sometime they'd be playing at green.
Yeah, I mean, you and we got to form a band. That's what it is, Chad.
I can't play anything in real life, let alone in Lotro.
We'll figure it out. It's all ones and zeros.
Songbook and AV files.
Oh yeah,
it's all ones and zeros.
It's true. But I don't want to be that player again. That guy who's just like flopping his numbers around.
Yeah.
That's what ABC songs are for.
Oh yeah, the ABC thing was great. It was so much fun to figure out. And
see, whenever I pretend to play music, I'm usually just like, I'll take two numbers and just like, or rearrange them slightly, like 1 1 2 3 3. You're like, yeah, I created something there. That's all I would do.
Yeah. See, the people that can like, it's rare to see people actually like freehand playing music, and when they do, you could just straight up tell. Unless they've done some sort of like macro MIDI keyboard thing and they're playing on a keyboard in front of them. But like everybody's just playing off pre-scripted music for the most part. So
yeah, usually.
How hard is it to do considering the lag in the game?
It's actually surprising. It's surprisingly easy because I mean, my drunk butt can do it. Like on a, you know, you could be like, "Yep, let's play a song," and I would be like, "All right."
The music system, thanks to a lot of the really cool plugins that people have created, makes it so that you can just kind of roll up and hit a couple keys and hit play on a song, almost like a Lord of the Rings themed MP3 player, and just start jamming out whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I keep forgetting about plugins, man. Yeah, they make life a lot easier.
You have not had a fight until you've had me playing Master of Puppets on a lute behind you. Like that, it'll jack you up. You'll be in the zone. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I got that sticky filth.
That's right, man. This is some good sticky filth.
So, Carv, I'm glad you joined because I threw this question out there in the doc, you know, because raids, man. You literally took me on my first raid ever. I don't know if you realize that, but you did.
Which one was that?
You
was that the
me
Ride
somewhere up in the Forenost, or no, it was up in
Was that up in Angmar?
No, it wasn't Angmar. We were up in North Downs. Somewhere up in North Downs. I can't remember.
You think about Fornost?
Yes.
That's the only raid I've ever done, I think. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Fornost gets big. It's pretty cool.
Oh no, I did the Great Barrow too, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you're gonna talk raids, like, are we talking like multi-person content? Or are we talking? Up,
when you're talking
raids
more
being
than
12 people or more.
When you're talking more than 3 or 4 people, you know.
Okay,
like,
yeah, that's group content.
Terry might have even been on that raid at the time, but
it might have been. I remember. Us
it got a little crazy. We wiped once or twice. We screwed up.
Well, if we were doing Shadowwing, yeah, we were gonna die a lot. But I don't remember if that. I remember you being there, and I remember
something
thinking
about like we had to like rip curtains off and make light and drag the things into the light. And
that's
Ostalendale. That's in
Evendim.
I was gonna say I've never done that. Yeah.
That one is that one can be tricky if you don't have the mechanics down just right.
Being a solo player, I typically skip that
Evendim?
kind of content.
It's a 6-man dungeon.
Not a raid. Yeah.
So it's not like you know how like there is that attack and defend area part of that game that's not one of those. It's an actual instance.
Yeah, it's a 6-man instance. That's the gateway is actually within Illuminas proper, but you can get to it from the instance finder. Like most other.
What is that city you're trying to capture there? I'm drawing a blank.
That's Illuminas.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, where you have to like get the control points and you go back and forth.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of that area.
Yeah, that's a really cool mechanic in there.
See, the issue with playing these on Meneldor was it would be like I'm level 40, but I would be with like 2 level 70s or 80s at the time because that was a cap, and there was just no middle ground players. So I never got to fully experience those kind of things the way they were meant to, as a challenge, you know.
Actually, now they added roving threats to Anemones to make it even more fun.
Okay, not to go on a complete nerd tangent, but my wife just texted me that we're going to the Renaissance Festival on Sunday.
Heck yeah!
You guys made fun of me for LARPing? Screw you guys!
I defended you.
I haven't even LARPed in 20 years, man.
You know what? I defended you. As far as I'm concerned, LARPing is just live action stuff that a lot of the how do we say less physically active Dungeons and Dragons players wish they could participate with.
Actually, I was a fat kid 10 years ago. Give me a break.
Yeah. I don't know. LARPing Vampire the Masquerade is a pass card for me. Anything else is like, no, you just throw you under the bus.
That's right. You know, I have my standards, but I never was that low. Yeah.
Screw the Camarilla, right? Am I right, guys?
Burn him.
But yeah, I mean, as far as group content goes, there's a lot of really neat dungeons and different mechanics that you can go through, and I mean, I've had a lot of fun. I've been kind of absent for the past couple of weeks because I've been just slammed at work. But on Tuesday nights, we've been running dungeons at pretty much level cap, pretty much stopping at level for what, like 2 years now, Terry, or something like that?
Something like that.
I mean, it's been a long time. And we started like level 20, and we did the barrows, and we pretty much stopped at every level cap on the way up. And right now we're kind of somewhere in the 70s. 75, yeah. So we're just up to Isengard at this point.
Yeah, I have to say that for someone who enjoys the journey, on that list of stuff that I think is necessary to purchase, the Stone of the Tortoise is definitely on that list.
Yeah, I was really excited when they dropped that bad boy down to 900 or to like 95 instead of like the 500 it was originally.
Yeah. I purchased it at the 500 level, and like I love it to death.
What
because
is this, actually? Now I'm again confused.
There's an equipable item that when you equip it, it freezes your level gain. So you gain experience for your legendary item, but you don't gain experience towards a level. So you could freeze your level, and you could play in that area at one specific level. And you could say, I don't want to gain experience at all.
So it's like
really great.
Evolving in Pokemon?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Well, the idea is there is way more content than you can do within the level bands because you will out-level everything. Yeah. So it's a thing that you can equip that will allow you to more slowly progress through the game if you want to do everything. Yeah, and stay on level.
And I toggle it on and off every few levels just so, because when you get to that point where you're just way over a level for the area that you're in, it's kind of boring because you're just like, okay, that's when I stop reading quest, text, right? I just sort of skip it and just go on with life. But if you deliberately stop your leveling, you could actually it presents a little bit of a challenge to the game, which keeps it interesting. So
that's a good mechanic. It's a really good mechanic.
It's actually a good option to have, even if you don't want to utilize it.
I wish that there would be a toggleable thing in. I wish they wouldn't sell it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that should be.
Have to monetize the game.
I know.
We do live in a capitalist society, man.
We do.
We haven't taken down the Camarilla yet. That's why. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a bad idea. But like 500 points for it—that's a whole month's wage, as it were, if you're a VIP, right?
Yeah.
It's like your allowance.
Yeah, your stipend, I think.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, now it's a good couple of grindy
100.
characters, but yeah. 100 now, so it's basically the same price as your ride skill.
So, Carve, since you're playing, completely free, do you view things as, instead of turbine points or actual currency, do you actually, like, when you say, "Oh, I need 500 turbine points," you're like, "Okay, that's 8,000 wolves. Okay, let's start."
For me, 500 turbine points is usually about 2 burner characters. That's how I look at it. Burner characters. Yeah. It just depends on. So like if you do the math and you read the blogs and you figure out all the mechanics, you roll a Hobbit Minstrel, and then you blaze your way through the Slayer Deeds of the Shire, the Slayer Deeds and the Quest Deeds of Arid Lewin, and then half of the deeds in Bree. You can earn between 200 and 300 turbine points in 3 hours, give or take.
Damn.
And because right now the Hobbit Minstrel has basically the OP-ness and the mobility of a minstrel with the added bonus of getting extra turbine points for completing deeds that you're going to do anyway. And as a hobbit, you get like racial deeds on top of that. So you get a little bit of a bonus as a hobbit.
So is this like if you're speed running? Is this like,
pretty much
original Resident Evil in 59 minutes or whatever the hell it is?
Well, I mean, you earn turbine points as fast as you complete quests and you kill stuff. Because you get turbine points for Slayer deeds, you get turbine points for completing quests, you get turbine points for Explorer deeds. Right. So the more deeds you can complete, the more turbine points you can earn. And the low-hanging fruit,
you gotta have a system down for that.
I do. Man. I feel like you have to be an expert in this.
You don't have to be an expert,
like
but I think
mafia.
Well, he did use the phrase "burner characters." So.
He did.
Well, it's like and so I deliberately
just pawns to me, just pawns.
Yeah, I deliberately have a character slot I usually leave open for the sake of being able to create a character that I know I'm just going to play for about 3 hours and then toss.
Interesting.
If I'm really into the point where this is on sale this week and I really want that. That's about the time I will go for that kind of a situation. But for the most part, as long as you're doing your deeds as you're leveling, or you're taking the time to go back when you're over leveled and they're easier to do, it's not that hard to get the turbine points you need.
Yeah, man, this is why it's a good free-to-play model. It's just that I don't understand the nuances of it, so I've never really utilized it. So it's like every now and then I get 5 points, and I'm like, neat. I'm never going to use it because it's an auto.
What is that for?
Neat.
Yeah. You hit
Shame
Shift L,
behind
and
these-
it opens up your deed panel. And once you get into your deed panel, you can just kind of click through the different tabs, and you see all the things you've done and the things you haven't done.
Trillion panels of.
Oh yeah, there's a
That's the
ton
thing,
of
man.
deeds.
There's so much. Yeah, there's so
And
many.
there's so many, but if you add them up, 5 or 10 per deed, it adds up.
See, this was the issue too.
I've been
like,
playing
before it was free, so like half those deeds were all gray when you go back, and you're like, well, I don't care if it's worth 10 points. I'm not getting XP, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I started a new character though, maybe different.
There is still, even after a couple years of playing, there's still UI things that I figure out. I'm like, oh my god, this existed this entire time.
Yeah, right here, man. Didn't know you could have like the custom chats.
So
I was like,
there was,
LFG, what is that?
You know, as much as we joke about all the stupid loading screens, there was one of them that says you could toggle off on and off your lamp by blah blah blah, and I'm like, we have a lamp? Like,
Yeah.
that
somebody
happened.
was
I
just
like,
telling-
wow, I learned something from a loading. I literally learned something from a loading screen. Like,
Somebody told me that just like a couple of days ago. They were like, dude, there's a lamp in the game. And I was like, yeah.
so, Jesus. So I know on the Low Players News, you guys have sort of teased back and forth about some mythical explorer class. Like, since we have the time to talk about it, I would say if there was a way that I could pay a reasonable amount of money to sort of randomly explore all of the content in like God mode, I would totally do it.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
But what were some of the things you guys sort of debated about that? I mean, obviously, you know, the cost would be one of them, but then it would almost have to be in like a in like what we refer to as chicken mode, where you're sort of like, you know, communication wise cut off from the entire world. But like, were you like, when you guys talked about it, were you guys talking about like having Explorer class where you can't even see the players, or were you like,
what?
where you can't?
Someone here work for Turbine?
No.
No, we were just
No, we were okay. So like the running gag on Low Players News is every now and again we pretend like we earn Turbine tokens where we can spend them to get Turbine to develop the stuff that we want. And so one of the things we were debating that would be awesome if we could spend our Turbine token on an Explorer class. And the idea would be that this is Lord of the Rings, and for many people that have been Lord of the Rings fans for, you know, 30, 40, 50 years, having an Explorer class where they have no desire to play a video game, but they want to explore Tolkien's world as envisioned in this interactive 3D environment. So you could pay some amount of money for this Explorer class, which is essentially a camera that kind of floats around the world, and they can explore Tolkien's world as it is envisioned by Turbine and see other players doing things. But you really just, it's a chance to kind of walk the fields of the Shire, or climb the Bitter Stair, or walk through the dungeons of Moria without having to be a player. Just as from like a explorer / tour guide / literary standpoint.
This would have to be some sort of one-off payment, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be like, you know, you'd be essentially purchasing like a one-time license for your account, like, you know, like you were purchasing a one-time video game kind of a thing, versus a subscription, and then say, hey, for XYZ dollars, you can have access to this kind of a thing for the lifetime of whatever. And it's basically like just an open world that you can explore.
That's neat. Yeah, that would be sort of like a museum admission. You know, like
Exactly. That's kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to kickstart this idea.
The closest thing they actually have to this in game is they introduced this Blessing of the Valor thing, where you can go from level 1 basically to level 95, so you could see all the starter areas with nothing attacking you, if you wanted to pay the Turbine points.
Beyond nothing attacking you.
But it was great because with Blessing of the Valor, they also introduced Blessing of the Valor upgrade, where you could take a character at level 50 and go to 95, which was awesome because I did it with, I've actually done it with 2 of my Terry Adwins on other servers, and basically took one of them and went back and played Tourist. Because she hadn't even made it all the way to Moria yet, but she was like level 48, and I'm like, oh, I'll go to 95, and then I'll just do everything way under leveled.
It's a good
They're
thing
way
you don't
over
role
leveled.
play. Could you imagine that if you had the same character in every server and you're like, it's a multiverse to you? I would go crazy thinking about that.
Pretty much.
Well, I have to
This
refer to
person
them by
exists 5
which server
universes.
they belong on, because it's like I have a Terry on Landroll, and I have a Terry on Brandywine, and I have a Terry on Crick Hollow.
You forget who
Et
your
cetera, et
family
cetera.
is, which is another Lotro thing that's unique to the game that I've never utilized. But
Yeah, that's right.
I think
I
I'm
don't have any-
someone's son. I don't
I
know.
don't have a
how.
surname or anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get
Yeah, I
like
didn't do that
super
either.
in depth with all of the different like tools that are in game for role play and whatnot, you can really just go deep into the weeds, and you never even have to enter combat. I've read stories about people that rolled a Hobbit and they've got a level 2 Hobbit sitting in the Shire somewhere. That's it. That's the level 2 Hobbit, and that Hobbit is a roleplay character.
Well,
They
he
walk
walk
around.
He just likes the
Yeah.
hole. And his,
Yeah, the
occasional
Hobbit
beer,
walks
and that's all he
around and
needs.
drinks beer, eats pies, talks to the neighbors. I mean, if that's your bag, man, have fun with it.
Yeah, he's not like one of those mischievous Baggins is. No, sirree.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember hearing a story about somebody that has never left Bree, but they were like level 65 somehow.
That's
Yeah,
impossible.
crafting.
That's impossible.
You can craft your way to level cap.
And
if
they
you
were
want
like a
to.
role player. They
You
just
think it's hard to grind by killing wolves? Can you imagine?
Oh yeah,
Like,
crafting
freaking
the
smelting
cap. Oh my gosh,
are you kidding me?
that's
will
you'd
you
have to-
please
you'd
bring
have
me
to
some
have-
pelts?
Exactly. You'd have to have like other people. Well, no, actually, with the farming and the cooking, now because all of those bits and pieces are in Bree, you could walk into Bree as long as you got a steady flow of cash coming from somewhere, which conceivably you could farm and then cook and then put it on the auction house and have the other players support your habit of not leaving Bree, and it would be completely self-sustainable in Bree.
Yeah, but that was pretty much like it involves someone just hitting the enter key and not doing anything for the next 20 minutes. Unless you buy that speed up thing, right? That craft speed
well,
up.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the most
it just seems
exciting
okay.
way to level, but it is a way to level.
Interesting. I just don't know.
I mean, honestly, if you're the player who just wants to chill out and kind of do some light role play with your buddies in a private chat, you set yourself to farming 100 or processing 200 crops, and then you're chatting away with your buddies in world chat, or not world chat, but like XYZ RP chat, talking about the consistency of squirrel droppings and Fangorn or something. you're chilling, you're hanging out.
Is that what you like server
Joe?
celebrities are? Like the people who everyone knows in a chat. I'm like, who the hell's that guy? I don't care.
I can
Tiefling, don't give a
actually
crap.
go one better. I know somebody from Twitch chat who has never left the Archit starter zone.
Oh my god.
Because apparently if you get to level 10, you can use the instance finder to get into group stuff, particularly epic battles, from the starter zone.
I've heard about that, yeah.
On their way to 100 in the starter zone.
Lord.
Because they don't want to see Archit burn. Spoilers.
That's cool. I heard somebody was going to do that. I wasn't sure. What level are they at?
Yeah, there was.
I don't know.
One of our former podcast network guys, when I was on the late night steamer, he played WoW to. He got a character all the way to level cap at the time, which was like 65 or something, by only walking backwards.
Wow.
And then you were just like, yeah, it was like, why? And he's like, because I could. And you were
It's
like,
like the guy who collected every spoon in Oblivion, and you're like, why did you do this? I don't know. I love spoons.
Wasn't there some guy who like got his panda to level cap by just farming in the very first intro or something?
Yeah, probably.
Crazy thing. I was just like, I can't even imagine that.
If that's what makes them happy, then
Well, it's like you
Get out of the way.
as the guy who did that.
You don't feel like it's weird though? Like some of these people have jobs they hate, so like a day labor all day, and then they get on a game to do day labor. Like they just grind and grind and grind. They're like, I'm just a cook all day, grinding this out for love.
I don't know, right?
And you're a cook all day too in real life. Sad. It's a tragedy of our generation.
So yeah, on the role playing scene, right? When you're on Landroval, it's really heavily concentrated around, from what I see, mostly around either bars in the Shire or the Prancing Pony, right?
Oh yeah.
If you go into the Prancing Pony on Landroval on any night, much less a weekend night, you just walk in, you're just like, oh my god, like that's the point where the role playing kind of weirds me out. You're just like,
usually what happens I walk in and I walk back out.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem coming across somebody in the field and acting like my character, being, hospitable and waving and being nice and laughing or bowing or whatever we do, and but yeah, when you get to that point where you're just like just walls of text and white, you're just like, ugh.
It's interactive fan fiction.
Yeah.
And let's face it, it's the Prancing Pony, it's a pub in the Shire, it is your standard roleplay adventure trope. You meet in a tavern, and where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? And that's
anything
the
can happen.
Conversation I hear.
Exactly. I respect these people, but then I just sort of walk right past them.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's fine.
I was in my element back then.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you guys have fun. I'm gonna go kill some stuff because it's a video game about adventuring. So.
I'm only in town just long enough to sell all these wolves' heads.
Pretty much.
Back out. Give me a beer. I'm on my way out. Don't mind me setting off fireworks by the fireplace over here.
I love setting off fireworks. Hitting slash smoke, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! There's that quest where there's a quest somewhere in, I think it's in Evendem, where it's like an homage to something that Tolkien sent to his son or something, and the reward is you get a cosmetic smokable pipe or something.
Yeah, that never runs out of tobacco.
Yeah. Oh my God!
I must have that because I did quest in that area.
Carry that everywhere.
Yeah.
Just like, I am never leaving this out of my bag.
Then you get the other tobacco.
Otherwise, your character uses the generic pipe. Right.
If you do slash smoke, you do an animation where you smoke and then you kind of cough a little bit and you put it away. But if you use that,
smoke too.
Oh, is that smoke too? Okay.
Yeah, smoke slash smoke. You just stand there smoking.
Oh, that's
you have to
right.
earn smoke too, like you do the dances, because I have like dance 4, but now dance 3.
No.
So awkward. Like a girl dances dance 2, and you're like,
you obviously didn't hit the festival for Now You Think You Could Dance.
Album
17.
My favorite
dance 4
on a human female.
Yeah, on a human female. Yeah, looks like you're twerking.
Lotro twerking.
Okay, so this is very topical because there is a festival going on right now, right?
Twerking. Oh
well, no, Farmers Fair is an event. It's not a proper festival, so there aren't dance quests up.
But it is off the chain.
Yeah, it's definitely off the chain. But part of me says I could see for people who all they do is play this game all day long, the festivals are a great way to sort of, okay, pause the war, let's go party, right? But at the same point, for the few people like me that are like infrequent, I consider myself hardcore casual. Like, I know all the systems, but I just only play like once every week or two.
Oh man, I'm raising my hand right now, bro. That's me.
Hardcore casual. That's so good.
Hardcore casual.
More Tolkien fan than game fan.
Yeah, totally. It like when I like sign in and it's just like nothing but fireworks and people running around hitting people with snowballs, I'm like, this is completely immersion breaking. And those are the days where like I raise my middle finger up to the festival and I go way out in the field, like just way out there. Like during festivals, that's the time where I'm grinding Angmar deeds. I'm just like, screw you guys.
So at first you're like a hipster and then you become a mountain man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm too cool for this, and I'm gonna live in the mountains.
I'm trudging through a swamp.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I like the festivals because it does give a bit of variety to the whole. I'm here and I'm killing and I'm a dwarf and I'm in a mountain and blah blah blah. I mean, it adds a bit of fun flair because none of the festivals are really super difficult, and frankly, for the amount of XP you get per hour completing festival quests, they're really great way to level up.
I totally agree. Because
they scale and they're easy quests, so you can run in and do. They're meant to be run through. I think just about every festival you can run through the quests in maybe an hour at most, hour and a half for your dailies, and that's a ton of quest completions for an hour.
Yeah,
and I don't like redoing them, but
Andang's too busy to join our podcast, but he's playing Lord of the Rings online, according to my Steam pop-up. Busted.
He's probably recording for some show. He's working.
Yeah, working. Yeah, he gets air quotes working.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in the Mixler chat is correcting me. The dance quests are up. I didn't actually go to the party tree.
There you go.
Well, that would make sense.
That means Ale Association in League should be live also.
Do/twerk 3. That's my favorite.
Well, I mean, just to kind of give you further insight into the festival quests, whenever I look over at Mrs. Carver and I say, "Hey, Lotro Festival's up," she's like, "Really? Yay!" She loves that stuff. She loves the pretty dresses.
If it makes her happy,
and all that stuff, and I'm like, all right. I can usually do it. I mean,
I never even spend the currency. I just end up piling it up for years.
Yeah, well, because
like how many leaves do I have now? 100 of them.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes right down to it, like the festival rewards don't change that much year over year. So once you get that one character who's got all the stuff that you want, it's like, there's no really need to go back and do it.
Once you get the stupid horse, you never go back.
Yeah, the horse, or you
get the pony ones. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, you get the horse, you get the cool cloak, or you get that thing you want to carry around in your hand, or whatever.
I don't even go to the treasure digging things anymore. I'm just like,
I've never done that. Every year, I feel like I'm about to do that, and I go out there and no one's there, and I'm like,
don't. Just when it pops up and you say, "Hey, I want to do that," just put your hand on the table in front of you and just smash it with a hammer, and then.
The treasure hunt's an interesting one.
I like how you get XP though just for accepting the quest. You're like, okay, accept. And it's like, complete it. And you're like, I complete it. And it's like 800 XP. And I'm like, all right, I did nothing.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's like free XP and a map that you can throw into your story.
I was going to say, I have a character that's collecting obscure storage items like maps to the Hobnobagons. And it's also completely full of travel rations.
Nice. Travel rations that are an obsolete item for like 2
I'm thinking
travel rations. That's the one that looks like the eggs for whatever reason.
If we ever do eBay,
they look like clams.
Middle Earth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some money out of this. Good times. Okay, so I guess last question of the night here. Like, are we happy or are we sort of afraid as sort of we approach Mordor?
I mean, I know their license is over in 2017. I was actually shocked when Terry said that before we started recording that this was a new expansion. I kind of thought the game was going to be over, especially when Turbine announced that they're done being an MMO studio and their only games left are games that are now self-existent or licensed, like Lotro and DDO. So I figured,
and then you saw that they're hiring nothing but like mobile developers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, what?
It's like, what the hell is going on? I figured it was over. I mean, I figured like Lord of the Rings Online is not going to go the way of Asheron's Call. Like, it's going to vanish or someone else will buy it. So I figured the game's going to shut down because the MMO market right now is crap. Like, let's be honest. The heyday of the MMO is over. It's like
yes, we're all grown up. We have responsibilities.
I know. Plus, there's just too many games to play now, and everyone's playing mobile.
True.
So I'm gonna have a huge stack of games, man. I'll never get through half of them before I'm dead. Seriously, it's ended in a tragedy.
Honestly, I think that between the Lord of the Rings fans and the gamers that have stuck around for the community, they're going to do everything that they can to take this cash cow as far as they can to market before they decide to send it off to the beef farm. Mordor is kind of like the game has to end there. If it's going to end anywhere, let us at least make it to Mordor, because I mean that's
exactly
the end of the story in just about every way you slice the Lord of the Rings franchise. That's the end. Now, if they're trying to do more with less, or if they're trying to do what they can with less in terms of personnel, hey, I'm down with it. If there's player base to support what they want to make and try to build out for the remainder of the game. The article I was reading the other day said that the deal with the license is pretty much, it's just another bit of business negotiation that they go through, and it's nothing to be worried about. So I'm not worried about it. I'll play it until it's not around, and then I'll be sad and I'll find something else to do with that particular part of my life.
See, this is the issue I have with MMOs in general, is the lack of permanence to know that I can put X amount of time to something that's eventually just not going to be there.
See, this is
the same thing about a car.
You got to go listen to that episode. I'm telling you, because they cover this in detail, where you're just like, you know what? Eventually, like they actually play audio clips of chat, the voice chat, when a digital world dies, and it's just like it's the death of an entire universe, and it's just
they
like,
die too.
it ends with a connection timeout. You know, it's just like it's such a freaking letdown. Where it's just like connection timeout. Server lost,
one of the reasons I'm against sort of online only games or DRM in general, because like Diablo 3, right? The first iteration of the game not available anymore, and you cannot play it. It's impossible because the game's been patched and they've changed it dramatically over time. The original game just doesn't exist anymore at all.
And I think that's what's so sad about Lord of the Rings is like the people that are Tolkien fans, like people like me. I just love just running through the landscape and just exploring the hell out of every little nook and cranny. And you're just like, oh, I'm here. I'm living in this book that I, idolized growing up. And yeah, someday it's just going to be connection timed out.
That's when you're gonna have to like reach over and pick up Adventures in Middle Earth, which is the new OpenGL license coming from the fine people that did the One Ring RPG. And now that they're incorporating with the Dungeons and Dragons 5e Open Gaming license, you just take it back to old school, start going pen and paper.
5e is not 5e. Okay, so 5e is good, right? 4e was the one that no one likes.
Yeah. Okay. 5e is the reason why I got back into playing D&D.
I have the starter set, but I haven't read it.
We actually just finished that first Minds of Fendover, but that's a different game system.
You guys played the One Ring though, because that's brilliant.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it. I've seen a couple of streams where they played it, and it looked like it was pretty cool. But from what I understand, they've taken some of the best elements of that system, and they've integrated it with 5e and the open license to create a newer version that sits on top. It's a lot easier for D&D folk to pick up. So
I wish I had friends. I would totally play that.
Roll20.net. Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully all things working together, I'm going to pick up those manuals sometime this fall so I can start looking into it because I really want to check that out too.
Literally, earlier tonight, somebody just approached me about playing a Roll20 campaign. I'm like, I guess.
3.5.
Hey, put my hat in the name of the... Too much wine.
Because you're right. Yeah. Even though you're in Australia, you're my time. So
exactly. If it is, sign me up.
Yeah. I'll throw you in there, man.
The idea of being able to explore Lord of the Rings, whether it's through Lotro or through an RPG or through whatever, is just fantastic. And I think as long as there are people that enjoy Tolkien's work, there are people who are going to take it to the next further and use their imaginations to do whatever. Lord of the Rings Online provides a level of tangibleness that is just fantastic. But at the same time, people are going to play Lord of the Rings related stuff regardless.
So one of the things, like, it's sort of touching back to that whole explorer class and the semi-permanence of it. There's a Minecraft group that's still going out there called Minecraft Middle Earth. Look them up on YouTube. Just go Minecraft Middle Earth.
I have seen some of their stuff.
I've joined their servers.
Their Shire is excellent.
I've toured it. Like I tried to do a speed run to see how fast I could run through Moria in Minecraft Middle Earth, and it was like an hour and 35 minutes.
Wow.
It took me to run through Moria.
That's awesome.
You're just like ridiculous passion.
Server saved, right? It's not like Terraria where
it's a permanent server, but obviously at this point, like they've sort of pushed Minecraft server technology to the point where it's breaking. And I don't like it's one of those things where like every now and then I see him release something on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go back and look at that. Like they've made their way to Gondor,
Someday that's just going to be gone. And like within a relatively recent period of time in relation to other history.
In this case, since it's a fan-made project, they could easily just host that file and anybody could possibly download the Minecraft file and run it locally, right?
Can you do that? Can you actually save Minecraft locally? On the PC?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If someone shares if someone shares
the map, you can totally download it.
But Turbine's not going to just be like, oh well, we're closing down, but here's all our assets, go nuts. I really doubt that's going to happen, which is what makes me sort of sad. But at least there, like with Minecraft Middle Earth, there are sort of fan-driven projects out there to sort of just push, the envelope. So.
I mean, like, I guess if they and Tolkien Industries or whatever the hell they're called now agreed to that would happen, but it seems unlikely.
Can we all agree that like his son sort of just needs to pass away?
Christopher Tolkien. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I was literally at the library Saturdays. I go every Saturday, and there was a brand new Tolkien book, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
No one wants to say that, but that's what kind of needs to happen.
What is the new book called? I mean,
Christopher's just like
it's Tolkien's darkest adventure yet.
Yeah, Christopher's like anti-tech, so you know.
Oh man, yeah. Like I'm done. Like I read the Silmarillion, and I was like, I'll never read any of the other expanded universe stuff. It's just not fair. Like the guy obviously never intended to be published for a reason.
So. Okay, so this is the last question just for you, Chad, because first time on the show, and I freaking love your movie podcast, the Cinematic Tangent.
CinematicTangent.com.
Hell yeah, go out there, you guys. Rip apart movies. I love it. I have had countless vacation drives for like 12-hour drives where we've just binge listened to your shows.
Yeah,
So
it's awesome.
Even my wife is laughing at your stuff, and she hates movies, and she works in a movie theater. She manages a movie theater, and she hates movies, and she loves your podcast. So
excellent! Wow, good.
What are you? Being a sort of a crossover, like crazy hardcore movie fan, what were your impressions of the actual? We'll do it in two parts: the Lord of the Rings and then the Hobbit.
Okay, well, I guess we talked about this in the show, so you guys don't know. I think the Lord of the Rings, in terms of just their art direction alone, with all the real models and all the actual costumes and stuff, it's a masterpiece, and it represents an old way of making films. But it's done in a modern context. They use CGI to sort of make it better, really improve it. That being said, I also think that the characters are great. The score is great. In general, 3 of the best films ever made. The Hobbit is like a cheap imitation of the Lord of the Rings films in every conceivable way. It uses CGI as its backbone for its visual style, which, by the way, looks like a video game. It's stretched far too thin, and it just has, in terms of the score and stuff, it's just the same thing as Lord of the Rings in every way. It's just a cheap imitation all the way around, and I think that the first part is a truly awful film, There and Back Again. And I think Smaug is passable, and I think Five Armies, again, like, what a joke. I mean, the battle scene could literally have been like a video game. It was just horrible.
Would you say that the Hobbit is like jelly that's been scraped over
too much bread. Exactly. I think I made that joke, and it is like it's terrible, man. And I actually got super wasted and went and saw all of the extended editions. And I watched the first 2 extended, which were bad. And then in the middle of Five Armies, I had like a panic attack, and I was like, I have to leave. Like, I can't go through another 2 hours of this.
I can't do this. I gotta get out.
I left.
I gotta get out.
Whereas the extended versions of Lord of the Rings were great. They added stuff that I really wanted to see, you know?
Oh, yeah. So, I watched all 3 of the extended versions in one day at my wife's theater. They had a special showing. I spent 14 and a half hours in the theater.
God, you got blood clots.
Oh my God, it was the best day of my life. You want to talk about funk, though? That theater starts stinking about halfway through the 2 towers.
All those nerds? Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, and I have been trying to gather folks for an extended Lord of the Rings movie marathon event, and it's fallen through every time. Because
I would do that once a year.
Who's
got
got
mixed
the ability
bag.
to commit like a 15-hour day to that kind of thing?
You know what the most egregious scene from there they removed is the one where gifts. That scene is beautiful, and then later on in the 2 towers, they have this stupid line of exposition where he's like, "Oh, luckily these elvish cloaks will hide us in there," and you're like, "Well, if you didn't read the book, like that's your first introduction to that because they skipped that whole part in the first film."
Yeah,
I have no idea why they cut that out. Other stuff could have been removed, but then the Brothers of Gondor scene in 2 towers as well. What a freaking awesome scene! I can't believe they cut that. It's a tragedy.
Yeah, there was some really good stuff that there should have been left in.
Yeah.
Does I haven't made it that far in Lotro. Does it have that like gut-wrenching scene where they send what's his name out to his death
Faramir?
On the Faramir?
Yeah.
Like
it's not the same. It's much more dramatic in the movie than it is in the game.
Oh my God, that makes me cry every time.
Faramir isn't sent out on this like suicide mission because Denethor is being a jerk.
Yeah.
Faramir is actually stationed in Osgiliath, and when the city's overrun, Faramir has to retreat. And there's a whole sequence where you're chasing through the city trying to figure out, is this really family you're following? Is there something else going on? And there's some pretty epic stuff that happens on the plains of Pelennor between Osgiliath and Minas Tirith, which I won't spoil because it's pretty epic in the game. But it's very different than it is done in the movie, because in the movie it's very cinematic and it makes it feel like it was this heroic suicide charge. Yeah. Which it wasn't that way in the book or in the game. Yeah, I mean the juxtaposition of the music scene. And Billy Boyd singing and Denethor eating like a pig, and oh my gosh!
And once again, regurgitated in The Hobbit. Oh, the series is over now. It's the same song as the movie. You all liked. This is the shittier finale.
I imagine when they're filming The Hobbit. Jackson just sat there and just let other people like, okay, you got this, go. You know, just go with it.
He did this ironic video where it was him at home polishing his Oscar. So many bookmarks in it. I was like, I know that's what you did with the freaking Hobbit. You're like, what does it matter? I'm a billionaire now.
Okay, so true fact, like I purchased all of the extended versions on, you know, as they came out one at a time, and then I repurchased the extended version Blu-ray box set.
Terrible box set, terrible value. Almost all DVDs.
But I have watched every single second of all the extras, right? I freaking loved watching them go into the Weta workshop and just go nuts with all, you know, this little crazy stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
that was
talk
the
about
best.
Cosmetics, Terry. Oh my God.
Yeah, the video of like Peter Jackson ducking down with the model, I think it's of Helm's Deep, where he's like walking through it. That is... Like, you can't believe it. Like, they really built Helm's Deep.
When it came to The Hobbit, I had zero cares about just come straight up pirating that.
That's because it's green screen around a pool.
I just
like, you don't need to reward that.
I was like, I'm not even going to buy this. So then I see in Lord of the Rings news, they have, I recently saw that there was some gigantic, like, epic box set coming out, which has all 6 movies and extended versions, and I'm just like, I saw that and I started rolling my eyes. I'm like,
$300. $300.
I've got it all already. I don't need to do it again.
Exactly. Like I got the best stuff. I'm good.
I feel you in The Hobbit. Like I have all like the toys and stuff from Lord of the Rings films and stuff like that. And like the Hobbit ones, man, I'm never gonna buy that garbage. It's really sad.
Sad but true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't pay for movies you don't like. Don't feel bad about pirating. That's what
we have exhausted this podcast. We're coming up on 2 hours of streaming, so I'm going to skip the rest of this unless somebody has anything else that they really want to talk about, grinding or anything. I was going to talk to you about No Man's Sky, Ray, but I swear to God, we could keep that for next episode.
That's fair.
I'll let you just go off about No Man's Sky on next episode, okay?
Great technology, terrible game. There's my summary. We'll make a great other game someday.
Yeah, exactly. Once they fix
looked like it was really cool, but everything I've read about it said it just doesn't live up to the hype. And I'm like, oh, that's sad.
One thing I'll say before you go, do you remember when Aliens Colonial Marines, they set out those like fake videos of the game, and then when it came out it was actually garbage and looked like crap? That's how I felt about No Man's Sky. Like, where are the dinosaurs and the freaking birds flying in the sky? I'm in an empty, desolate planet in the middle of nowhere that I'm gonna name something like Poop Dick. I'm gonna move on. Terrible game.
So I'm contractually obligated to by Andang to say that we have a Patreon for Players Alliance. Go out there and donate. I'm not gonna read this whole contract. So if you'd like to contact us, I'm skipping over the fine print at this point. Yeah, we have a Patreon. Go donate if you want to, or donate to some sort of a generous cause. Do whatever you feel like. I don't care. So if you want to contact us, just follow us on Twitter at PlayersAlly or at XPQuest. I am at DJPimpdaddy, and of course Raetac is at Raetac Rages. What's your YouTube channel, Ray?
My YouTube channel is www.com. Too much wine again. www.youtube.com/user/Raetac Rages, where I am currently playing through Minecraft, Knights of Pen and Paper +1. Actually, just a little stopgap advice for anybody who's playing text-based games. Read them out to yourself. You will enjoy them 100% better. And
it's a fantastic series.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Oh, I'm enjoying it so much. And also playing a modded RimWorld series on my channel. So if you're interested in any of those, come on down.
So I'm going to toss this over to our guest. Terry, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Terry Edwin. And also I stream on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Terry Edwin.
Sweet. Brax has left, so of course you can find him at BraxWolf, or you could go out to BeyondBossFights.com, which is his fantastic podcast. Why are you not listening to that if you're not subscribed? Chad, you.
I am Chad Michael Van Alsten. That's my real name, and I'm on Twitter at Chad. Yeah, it's my real long pompous name. I'm on Twitter at Chad Van Alsten, and you can find our podcast at thecinematictangent.com if you feel so up to it.
And Carvet?
You can find me on Twitter at CarvetLP. I'm also on Twitch at CarvetLogSplitter, and I'm one of the co-hosts of Lotro Players News and a couple of things that we do on the Players Alliance.
Woohoo! Okay, you can find all the Players Alliance shows on this same channel, obviously. On Monday nights, 8:30 Eastern, you got DDO Players. And then every other Thursday-ish at 9 p.m.-ish, I say with air quotes. I'm actually doing air quotes in real life. We have XPQuest.
One doesn't do them digitally.
It's kind of when we feel like it is when we do the show.
No, it's more of a case when DJ is available.
Yeah, things got busy.
Man, I'm like every 2 weeks, never happens.
So the last Friday of every month, you've of course got Lotro Academy. That's a great show to listen to if you sort of new to it. And then Saturday nights at 8:30 Eastern, you have our flagship podcast, the Lotro Players News. And I'm sure after this episode, we're going to be banned from the channel. So
I only swore twice. I counted. I took a little talent.
Basically, we all agreed we shouldn't pay money for Lord of the... No, just kidding. Okay, anybody have any final thoughts?
Thank you for having me. Honest to God, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, my final thought is I have a magnet of the Green Dragon on my fridge.
Nice. I do too. It's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've just crossed the Lord of the Rings fandom line, and I now have a permanently indelled tattoo of a Lord of the Rings themed tattoo. So I'm pretty jazzed about that right now. Check it out.
Yeah,
The picture's on my Twitter.
That's awesome.
LP.
I will have to go dig this up.
Yeah, and if you don't know what it is, just tweet me and I'll tell you.
I got lost in the country in Florida, and some guy had a big sign on his, I don't know, decrepit farm that said Prancing Pony, and it made me laugh. I took a picture of it. I'll find it. I'll post it.
You know, I never thought you could actually get lost in the country in Florida.
Oh my God!
You can.
Swamp areas.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Outside of Orlando. Yeah.
Terrifying people.
Yeah, I was going towards Georgia and I got lost. It was nuts.
We took the kids to Disney and we made it there and somehow out of Florida without incident. But yeah, there's some long stretches in there.
There's some people you just drive through and you're like, oh, these people are voting for Trump.
That is so true. Okay, well, thank you all, chat, for joining us, and everyone, keep pressing on. I guess that's all we can do.
Find time for the grind.
Find time for the grind, indeed.